What's the biggest lesson you've learned in the last decade for you?
That things, first of all, keep getting better. I think in our society, especially as it relates to, as you get older, at least in my family, there was a lot of kind of cultural expectations like, oh, over this age, it kind of starts going down, or you know what I mean? You peak when you're young, and that's when all the good stuff happens. And for me, I feel like it keeps getting better. And I love that the best years are still ahead of me, and that all the stuff that I've been through, there's like all of these exciting new possibilities. So that's one of the biggest lessons. And I think the other one is that I don't have to stress as hard. Like, as a human being, I have a really strong work ethic, but I also tend to put a lot of pressure on myself. And the other lesson I've learned is that I don't need to do that the work actually gets done more joyfully and more creatively if I don't add on that additional layer of pressure and stress.
Why do you pressure yourself?
I have really high expectations. I want to take care of my team. I want to take care of my family. I want to do right by my customers. Like with this book, I wanted to do right by my publishing partners. And I always feel a sense of responsibility to make sure that I'm taking care of people. And embedded in that, I have historically put a ton of pressure on myself to make sure, that the buck stops with me.
Yeah.
But I think recently it's been really great to see how awesome it is to collaborate with people who are like, girl, I got this. Like, you're good. You go do your thing. I'll do my thing, and we'll create something together that's magic. And I've been like, this is amazing.
Yeah, don't stress about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest challenge in the last 10 years?
I think the biggest challenge for me in the past decade, that's a good question.
You started MarieTV, what, 8 years ago? 9?
Yeah, so to put this all in context, so I've been doing what I've been doing for 20 years now.
Yeah.
So creating free content via email back starting in like 2000, 2001, which seems like
crazy.
Insane. Then blogging, and then I got Kuma in 2009. Kuma's my dog, my toy Australian
Sweet little
Shepherd.
dog.
He's a sweet little pup. And here's the thing, when we first got him as a puppy and I was training him along with Josh, I didn't have time to write as many.
Josh?
No, training Kuma along with Josh. Yeah. Josh knew what he was doing. I was just like, what do I do with a puppy?
Yeah.
I didn't have as much time to write blog posts, and so I just started opening my webcam on my MacBook Pro and talking right into the camera.
I remember those early videos.
Yeah,
of yours.
they're still on the site.
Yeah.
And so MarieTV was actually started not because I had some big vision for like a show that I wanted to do. It was actually because I didn't have much time because I had a really cute new puppy and I needed to get consistent content out, and I felt much more comfortable and it was faster to talk into my webcam than it was to construct a blog post. So that's how MarieTV started back in like 2009/2010.
So it's been almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think one of the challenges of the past decade has just been to continue to stay really present with all of the work while continuing to grow the company, like making sure that folks on the team have the support that they need, making sure that we're attracting the right talent, people that have the right skills, the right culture fit, and just keeping all those plates in the air.
Yeah.
And then of course still having a life. And making sure my relationship, stays on track.
How do you stay on track with a connected, loving relationship as a female entrepreneur when you're putting so much energy into your business and the culture and the team and your customers? And
I made so many mistakes. I mean, let's just be real. Like I talk about this, and I've told this story. Like I worked so hard to get my business off the ground, and I was often working 7 days a week, not just coaching, like that was a portion of what I did, but to keep a roof over my head, it was bartending, it was waiting tables, it was like being a personal assistant, cleaning people's toilets, whatever I needed to do in order to pay my rent, put food on the table and actually continue to grow the business. So I basically developed a habit of working nonstop. And
before MarieTV.
Oh yeah, like getting the business off the ground. I worked side
gigs.
You were
like a fitness coach. You did like dance instructions. You did everything.
I was a Nike Elite dance athlete. I taught anywhere from like 3 to 7 classes a week at Crunch Fitness. Some of them were choreographed. Some of them were basic fitness. I had the coaching clients. I was doing the content, and I was bartending and waiting tables. So I had developed this habit of nonstop work because that was what was necessary at that time.
New York.
Yes.
Yeah.
But as Josh and I, got together, and eventually when I let go of the bartending and the waiting tables and even the dance and fitness as a revenue stream, I didn't let go of the habit of working nonstop. And that created some real problems in the relationship, where it was to the point that him and I had been together for 7 years and never taken a vacation together.
Wow.
Like, we had traveled because either he had something for his work or I had something for my work, but it was always work related. So it wasn't actual just together time, just him and I. And our relationship was almost over. Like, he was kind of done with me.
Wow. Because you were just, I want to work, I got to build my business, you don't understand me, this is my dream.
I was operating too out of a lot of scarcity and a lot of just habit, like feeling like if I didn't work constantly, that it was all going to fall apart. And so there were other things mixed in there as well. There were other layers of just life pressures from all these different ends. But that was like a definite, a critical piece.
He had a son.
Oh, yeah.
And,
so my stepson Zane came into my life when he was 7. So the year that Josh and I kind of, one of the times, we've had many bumps along the road. We've been together for 16 years. Any couple that's been together that long, it's not all unicorns and
perfect.
rainbows. No, absolutely not. Relationships are so difficult. But at that particular juncture, Zane was going off to college, which that was a really big thing in terms of Josh processing that, having your kid go off after you've raised them, and then me working all the time. There was this confluence of stressors that put us in couples therapy, and I had to really change a lot about how I was living, what I was believing, and really putting things back into perspective, which, saved our relationship.
What were you believing?
Well, I was believing that if I didn't work constantly, that I wasn't a worthy person, that I wasn't doing enough to make my business successful, that I was perhaps letting people down. And so I had to really shift that and understand that, I come from a background, I don't come from a wealthy background. So the work ethic in my nuclear family is very strong. Like, my dad owned a small business. My mom, although she stayed home with us, she was constantly doing stuff, constantly working, constantly fixing things, constantly doing things that took care of the family. So that's the kind of DNA I grew up with, was like, no, if something needs to get done, you get it done.
Yeah.
It's not like you sit around all day eating bonbons and watching TV.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got there. But then I had to readjust if I actually wanted to not only have a successful business, but have a successful life.
Yeah. Well, how old were you when you came to this realization that, like, okay, I can take a day off a week, or I can take 2 weeks and go to Italy? Or
Yes. So that was probably, I may not get the dates right because time gets warped for me. But that was, I would say, well over like a decade ago, where I started making some changes, and then really starting to see also how much more creative and productive I was when I scaled back a little bit. And that was a really powerful realization, because I think often, and I understand this, and I think it's important to contextualize this, because at different stages of our life and at different stages of our creative process, we need to work in different rhythms. Often when you're getting something off the ground, it's kind of like a rocket ship leaving the atmosphere. It takes a lot of inertia to break free from gravity, right, to get into that upper stratosphere. So there's a lot of work required in the beginning, but then you have to adjust as you move on. And I just needed to learn that lesson. But
because you were just in like launch mode all the time.
Correct.
Like, we got to launch. I mean, not launching things, but the idea and the energy behind.
Correct.
Go.
Yep. So I think
It's
about
exhausting.
a decade ago is when I really started making some good changes and putting boundaries and bumpers in place for myself. And what that means was that at the top of the year, what we do in terms of relationship, and even for the company, we do the same thing. So there's 2 points I want to make here. In terms of my personal relationship, Josh and I look at the calendar at the top of the year, and we set non-negotiable adventure time.
Wow.
So my favorite
cool.
place to go is Italy. That's my happy place. So we don't always have to go there, but it's just been a habit for like the past 4 or 5 years. And we set 2 weeks in the calendar where it's like, he doesn't accept work. I tell the team, like, this is the time we're going to be away. No matter what's going on, we're just offline. That's it. And then there's other kind of smaller adventures that we plan, like adventures with friends, where, have a bunch of friends up for a couple of days around a birthday or around a holiday, and like put these bumpers in place so that both him and I know that there are these solid connection moments throughout the year, that no matter how busy everything else gets, that we have these things to look forward to. And that's been a game changer.
Wow.
And then in the company, I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but one day I was in New York and I was having like a really bad PMS craving for carbs. I was just like, Mama needs some carbs. And I was feeling like a croissant. And there was this great little French bakery around the corner that I had never been to. And I'm like, I'm gonna go get my croissant right now. So I roll up to this little French bakery, and on the window there was like this handmade sign that said, off for vacation back, July 18th. And it was like this 2-week thing.
Wow. You were like, what?
And I was like, wait, what?
Your business, you need to be here.
Yes. And yet it was empty. And this simple little like hand-drawn sign. And in that moment, Louis, I had this notion. I was like, wait a minute, I'm running this digital company. I have all of these amazing, beautiful, gorgeous souls that I work with. And we're producing content once a week, every week, nonstop. When do we ever take a break? And the advantage for me, like Josh, who works in entertainment, like series, sometimes they'll have, you watch your favorite series. Like I love Handmaid's Tale. I love Stranger Things. You see 11 or 12 episodes. And
you wait a year.
And yes. And then they're off for a little while, right? And I thought to myself, why do I not have downtime built into my business? And this was about the time when also there was just a cultural uprising with like, hustle 24/7 and you have to work nonstop and like never take a break, and I'll sleep when I'm dead. And I'm like, those are horrible messages for your health.
Yeah.
So we decided after I had my croissant craving, I told my director of operations, I said, starting right now, we're gonna close the company down for 2 weeks in the summer and 2 weeks in the winter, and in addition to people's already having
vacation
their vacation time. And we started that, I guess maybe, 5-6 years ago. I might be wrong on those dates, but a good number of time ago. And so our company goes dark twice a year. And now the company's at a place where not everyone in customer service takes off those exact same 2 weeks, so they stagger so that we can take care of people. But everyone has 2 weeks of dark time, 2 weeks of dark time. And what's great about that is that you don't get FOMO, thinking that you're off and there's all these other things happening and there's projects moving ahead and there's these things that you want to be in on, but you're like feeling that tension because the rest of the company is moving ahead and you're trying to relax. So it's been a game changer for us as a team.
5 years ago, roughly.
Yeah.
Interesting. Have you felt any negative effects to that?
Not one.
What if you took a month off in the winter and a month off? Is there like too much time where you're like, okay, now people are just...
It's a great question. We haven't tested that, so I don't know. 2 weeks for us has felt like a really beautiful amount of space. So over the past couple of years, the feedback, and we all talk about what we do when we come back, and we also share very openly about how it feels. And this is no bullshit too. This is one of the things I'm most proud of. When everyone comes back from break, they are so excited to get back from work. It's almost like a little joke. They're like, oh my God, I missed you guys so much. Like, and they talk about how they spent time with their families, like the adventures that they had, how they got a chance to refresh and renew themselves. And they come in with all these ideas. They didn't work on those ideas while they were away. It's just,
This came to them.
It came to them because they had a chance to step away.
Yeah, they had space.
Yeah, and this is the other cool thing, Louis, is I'm really proud of this. Oftentimes, and I don't find out about this until after a fact, they come back and I see these photos uploaded into Slack. They went to hang out with each other.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that's
cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
So those are some big changes.
Are those 4 weeks, are those paid, or is it just we're off and you guys take your time off? And
no, they're paid.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so they have, we have pretty good benefits, because I feel like in our culture, I was just talking about this last night with my creative director. We were at dinner, and it's such a strange environment that so many people that work for companies feel afraid. Like they feel
afraid of what?
Expendable. Like there's no sense of loyalty. And we were talking about someone that we know collectively who's like super talented, but in an industry where things are shifting fast. And this person, there's always this undercurrent of not knowing whether or not they're going to be let go because budgets or this, that, or the other thing. And there's not necessarily a connection between employee and employer.
Yeah.
And granted, many people may, well, that's just the way that business works. That's how it must be. And I don't agree with that. Like, I want the people that work for me and with me to feel a sense of safety and security. I mean, nothing is guaranteed. I get hit by a bus, we don't know, something may happen, but that's all outside of all of our control. But on a day-to-day basis, for someone to feel like if they're contributing their top gifts and their talents and their time to an organization, that organization is also as equally invested in their health and well-being, their sanity, their ability to show up fully for their family, to have time, to have flexibility. I just think that's where we need to go if we want to create real change in our culture. I mean, there's that statistic that's been around for a while now. It hangs out that about 70% of people here in the United States are actively disengaged from their work.
Right.
On
maybe
some
they're there
level.
for like 2 hours actively. Maybe there's 2 hours of work a day, right?
Yeah, but just even the sentiment that they have towards their work. Like, they're not satisfied with it. They're, going through the motions, just showing up. They're doing it only because they get a paycheck.
Yeah.
They feel no sense of meaning or purpose. And the economic repercussions of having 70% of our workforce disengaged at work or not liking their work or not feeling satisfied with it is enormous, which speaks nothing of the emotional or the psychological or the spiritual cost of having that proportion of our workforce unhappy.
Yeah, that's true. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
What are the things you think you're not doing well in your business?
I think a lot of these have started to shift with this book project. So I tend to be a person, this comes from two places. I like to be involved in things because I'm very collaborative.
Yeah.
So I love to see how things are turning out, and I love to put my spin on them or at least have my input. But at the same time, that can be overbearing. I don't want folks to feel like they constantly have to run things past me. My team definitely knows I trust them. So the thing that I haven't done well in the past is delegating enough, letting go enough control.
Yeah.
And particularly with this project, it's pushed us all so far outside of our collective comfort zones that it's been a joy to be like, you guys make the decision. Wow. You're amazing, you're intelligent, you're smart. Whatever you choose, I'm gonna be happy with.
Wow.
Yeah, that's been good.
It's hard to do to let go of that, right?
It's been great.
It's been good?
It's been really great. Like, the fact that I'm this awake and happy and in it right now speaks to my kind of let go and let Jesus take the wheel. And in this case, Jesus manifests as my team.
It's amazing. Just let people make decisions and move on.
Yes.
Right? You do what you need to do and let everyone else do what they need to do.
Yeah, it's the only way to sanity.
What do you think is missing in your life?
I'm going to sound like probably such a butthole saying this. I don't feel like anything's missing. Like, I feel really, first of all, I feel really appreciative of everything. The fact that I have my health, the fact that I have a team and people that I love and people that love me. And I don't feel like there's a hole, if that makes sense.
What do you feel like you'll regret if you don't do something in the next 10 years? So you've had 10 years now of kind of launching this version 2 of your business, I would say, right?
Yes.
And now the next decade's coming up. What will you regret if it's 2030, we're doing this again, sitting here, and you're like, God, I'm really upset at myself because I didn't do this in my personal life, in my business, my health, my family, the world.
Yes. I would say the only thing I could foresee at this moment not regretting is not continuing to take that quality time with people I love. That would be the thing that if for whatever reason I started making justifications.
Right.
Well,
this opportunity is so amazing, so I got to go here and do this.
That would be the only thing, to be super transparent with you. Yeah, because looking back on these past 10 years, the quality time with people that I love is everything. And I know this so viscerally in my body, is that we're not going to be here forever. And we never know when the people that we love gone. And so for me, there is nothing more important than maintaining and enriching and deepening those personal like friend relationships, Josh, my family, like making sure that I show up as fully as possible and not letting anything take me off track from that.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, having not had money and, you know, starting with like tons of debt and building everything from the ground up and now being in a different position, it's like I can see so clearly the success on an exterior level, like that's amazing and I'm grateful for it. But nothing can make up for not having a sense of love in your life and not having people that you care about and that you're invested in. So there's nothing that I could strive for or reach for that's going to be more important than this, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
If you're looking for more greatness in your life, make sure to check out this video right here. And also check out our free PDF, The 3 Secrets to Unlock the Power of Your Mind to help you change your life. Download it right here.
Are really important, and the food that you're going to find, foods that you're going to find them in are whole foods. You're going to find them in plants, you're going to find them in meats.